Ooh, there he is. There's that golden voice.
Maybe a little loose there. All right, I think we're good. Good.
All right, live action, son.
Hey, welcome back. Another in-person podcast here. How's your day in Nashville going so far, Shane?
Real
I think
good.
You've been hitting the bars, right?
Yes.
Tell the folks. This is my first one.
You can probably see it in my face, Mike. We're getting ready to go to Dave and Buster's. Looking forward to that. But no, we went to a little joint over here. What was that called? SoFi? Hi-Fi. So it was like breakfast and brunch.
She just told you 3 minutes ago.
I know. I've been drinking too. I've had a couple of their brews and feeling good, Mike. Feeling real good. So
Yeah.
I'm enjoying Nashville so far, and it's been a blast. But that joint was real nice.
Is it a brewery?
It's kind of like a brewery bar thing, and it's like their specialty is brunch, you know. And I
Right.
look at the menu, and then there's this random taco menu, and I'm like, what's going on here? And they're like, oh, well, we're about to roll this out. And I was like, well, I just want to make sure I can order something on here because now I'm starting to fall in love with this menu, you know. And I don't want to get too attached if it's not there. And they're like, no, we can whip it up in the back. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I ordered off that. Fantastic. Their breakfast, you know, it's okay. But, I mean, we're from East Tennessee. We know how to do – it's one thing we know how to do is breakfast. Yeah. Tacos, not so much.
So in your short time, I took you out to Mexican last night. What's the best meal you've had so far in Nashville?
So far – well, last night was fantastic, Mike. You took me to your little Mexican joint.
Habanero Grill. Shout out.
Yeah, not a sponsor of the pod.
Not yet.
No. But, you know, we talked about this on past episodes. Everybody's got their Mexican restaurant.
Yep.
You know, and yours was good. The food I had today was good, but still not touching my El Chorritos, if you know what I mean. So I'm still looking for that golden gem. We got plenty of opportunities moving forward, so I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, so a little surprise for you here. Right next door to Dave and Buster's, Mexican restaurant, boom, knocking two birds out with one stone right there for you.
Yeah, a lot of people are you're seeing a trend here, right? I want to venture off. I want to try some other stuff. I want to try I've heard this Prince's, because I put it out there. Have you seen that? Have you been there?
Oh yeah.
They said I've heard mixed things. Like it's a tourist trap, and then I've heard that it's freaking awesome. So
it's a tourist trap, is what it is.
But do I need to do it?
Yeah.
You know?
You've been to Nashville.
Yeah.
People are going to ask you if you had to. You got to just knock that off your bucket list.
Just go ahead and do that. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Just say I've been there.
Yeah.
Because I would like to get a little bit of that local flair, and
yeah.
you know, because there's so many places.
I'm going to hook you up on Friday night too. We're gonna get some good.
Come on now.
Some really good
Don't
food.
tease me. I've been drinking again.
But hey, before you fall asleep.
Yeah.
Oh, God, we got a damn drunk over here.
Oh, jeez. I thought I was the drunk.
Yeah, before you fall asleep, hey, we got a podcast to do, brother.
Yeah, man.
And before we make our picks for this weekend, you can hear cracking it in the background. Can't keep quiet over there.
It's that kind of party, Mike. We're ready. The whole crew's ready.
Well, we got to mention the sponsors real quick,
Yeah.
Shane. Game Time Sidekicks. I mean, this is come on, man. This is serious business.
40 minutes.
How often do we laugh during his podcast?
None.
Never.
It's a serious pod.
I know. Game Time Sidekick, Shane. This is one hell of a product here. Officially licensed NCAA gear. Over 300 universities represented with tumblers, bottles, shaker cups, even sippy cups for the little ones.
Yeah, come on.
So head on over to GameTimeSidekicks.com and don't forget to use that promo code HeyBuddy. All one word, get 15% off your entire order over at GameTimeSidekicks.com. And the listeners, if you want to take advantage of this, I mean, this is a perfect time.
Yeah.
Holiday season is right around the corner. You can find a link to Game Time Sidekicks in the show notes. And don't forget that promo code, HeyBuddy. And we're also sponsored by Prize Picks, Shane. Daily fantasy sports. They got the college football. That's why we love PrizePicks.com. The promo code SEC. They'll match your initial deposit up to $100. Are you, sir, ready to hear my prize picks?
Mike, you got some making up to do. All right. You put me in the hole a little bit last week. You've been on fire this entire season. Last week you took a step back. So I think you bounced back here, Mike. So, yes, let me hear your picks.
Okay. I mean, and these are some locks right here.
Do you feel confident? I'm telling you, Mike, we're going to get into the picture in a second. I'm feeling super confident.
Never felt more confident.
I'm not. I think I may go undefeated this year.
Yeah.
Or on this week, not all year. I mean, obviously, listeners know that's not true. But I feel like every pick is right.
All right, I did this one just for you, brother.
Okay.
Jalen Hyatt.
All right.
All this hype. South Carolina. He wanted to go there. He's from there. We all know the story. South Carolina fans said, what the hell? Yeah. That's not Shane Beamer's fault. Shane Beamer let you know that ain't his fault. Well, it ain't going to matter on Saturday, Shane. Jalen Hyatt over 80.5 receiving yards. He may have that in the first quarter, don't you think?
Lord, that's one good catch. You know what I'm saying? They're going to give him ample opportunities in this game. This is a personal game to him because Beamer didn't recruit him.
Right.
For some reason, he didn't want him to come to South Carolina. No, just kidding. I know Beamer didn't do it, but no, this is personal. When you not get picked by somebody in your backyard, that you carry that with you. So this is an opportunity for him to shine. 80 yards, over that in the first half.
Now here's a little curveball for you, though. Hendon Hooker, under 275.5 passing yards. And you may say, what the hell? Jalen Hyatt's going to go off? How is Hendon Hooker not going to get 300? I think Tennessee is going to have a field day on the ground, which is going to lead to some play action, is going to lead to some big shots, Jalen Hyatt. So I think Tennessee, we'll get to that game, but I think the ground game is going to be more of a factor against South Carolina that can't stop the run.
Right.
Which Hendon Hooker, he'll have a good day, but 300 yards, he certainly could get that. But, hell, they may bring in Joe Milton because the score could be so lopsided.
Yeah.
So I'm going under 275.5 passing yards on the road, hostile environment. Thoughts on that?
Risky, Mike. Because
I live life risky.
I'm just telling you because, something that stood out to me last week with Tennessee is getting that score in to help them try to get into the college football playoffs. Don't forget, we got a quarterback here trying to win a Heisman as well. So the only concern I have, Mike, is this is an opportunity to put up some bigger numbers toward the tail end of the season. So I don't know if I'm going to touch that one, brother.
All right, how about one more? Jackson Dart, Ole Miss quarterback, under, and this is one of those combined ones, passing and rushing, which this is dangerous again, 243.5 total yards. I'm going under, playing Arkansas at night. Remember, the temperature, it's going to be like 30 degrees. Could get down as low as, I think, 19, 16, something like that. So it's going to be a brutal night. I don't think there's going to be a ton of passing yards. And, man, we'll get to that game. I don't want to spoil my pick, but the motivation for Ole Miss, is it there? Going on the road. Arkansas needs this to get to the postseason. I don't think this is going to be a game where Jackson Dart dominates. I mean, if Ole Miss wins, it's going to be because of the ground game. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's the key right there. Arkansas hasn't shown me any confidence in their rush defense, so I think we're going to have production on that side of the ball. Lane Kiffin always finds a way to get yardage.
Right.
But I just don't think Dart's going to be the factor for that, and God forbid it does. If it comes down to Dart, I mean, it could. Who knows? Arkansas may pull it out. I mean, it's a night game.
Yep.
It is a night game, right? Or
night game. We've confirmed.
Is it
couple
noon
times.
in Texas? I don't know what Arkansas does these days, but no, I think there is an opportunity. This does become some sort of shootout, but I'm like you. I'm thinking this comes down to a rushing attack.
Yeah. So don't forget PrizePicks.com, promo code SEC.
Yeah.
They'll match your initial deposit up to $100. But are you ready, buddy, to make our picks for this weekend?
Let me get my scores up here. I did it early when I was sober, so I can't blame drunk Shane here.
Now, we do got two matchups, Shane, that don't have point spreads because it's FCS competition. So what we do for those matchups, just something you want to see from the SEC team. Let's start with Austin Peay at Alabama on a noon Eastern, 11 o'clock Central kick on the ESPN and SEC Network Plus. What is something that you want to see from the Crimson Tide in this game that they should win by 100?
Yeah, and they will. Yeah, I think this is going to be a bounce-back game, obviously, but I want to see. I mean, you got to fine-tune this rushing offense, and a lot of that starts with the offensive line. There's no reason the offensive line should have trouble with Austin Peay. So I think this is trench warfare, and I want to just see. I would prefer Bryce not throw the ball this entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about this? Speaking of the quarterbacks, I think this is one of those games where you're already looking ahead to next season. Jalen Milroe, the backup, we know he can run it like a truck.
Yeah.
Tremendous athlete. I want to see him pass the ball, see what we got more. I would tell him basically, because he's going to play in this one, when he plays, don't run the ball. This is a game where you're going to develop your arm, and maybe even Ty Simpson, the third quarterback. I want to see him out there on the field because this is going to be a heated competition in the spring. You know what?
Yeah. Let me ask you on that note, is there any players on Alabama that you would like to see? Because, for the longest time we talked about them not being able to stretch the field, or them, outside of Bryce and that they don't have another weapon that they can go to. Is there somebody late in this Austin Peay game you're going to keep your eye on just because of somebody you may see in the future? Maybe not this year,
right,
but future Alabama team?
Well, they did add a guy from Louisville, Tyler Harrell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think he's suited up this year. I think he's getting closer and closer to coming back. I don't know if this is a game you put him on the field,
right,
but he was supposed to be the guy that stretches your defense.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, sitting on the bench all year, he's not going to go to the NFL.
Yeah.
So we got to see what we get, see if he can be that explosive option we've been looking for. So keep your eye on Tyler Harrell. And then the other FCS, East Tennessee State, a program you know well, at Mississippi State, also noon Eastern, 11 o'clock Central, ESPN and SEC Network Plus. Anything you'll be looking for from Mississippi State in this one?
Well, I'll tell you this, man. There is a restaurant up there in ETSU at the campus. Bro, my youngest, she won't remember it, but they make these tamales downtown. I can't remember the name of it, but any locals at ETSU, they know what I'm talking about. That place is freaking phenomenal. Google tamales ETSU, it's going to pop up. But anyway, sorry, you can tell I'm starting to get hungry again. Mississippi State. What I want to see here from these guys is defense, man, Mike. And we've not seen that shut down Mississippi State defense since week 2 or 3. It's just it's kind of gone off the path. So this just shouldn't be a shootout. This shouldn't come down to any type of scheme, or it should be knocked out by halftime.
Yeah.
And to do that, you've got to have the defense come out and just smother ETSU, which they're fully capable of.
Right. This should be a glorified practice.
Yeah.
You got the Egg Bowl coming up here, and remember, they don't even have a week because they play on Thanksgiving. So like you said, critical that it's over by halftime. Rest your starters. I want to see 0 drop passes in this football game.
Oh, that's a good one.
Too many drops from Mississippi State. Use this, like I said, as a scrimmage to get ready for the Egg Bowl.
Right.
This is an important game for Mississippi State, even though it doesn't look like it on paper,
Yeah, absolutely. Be dialed in. There's a lot of these Mississippi State games that just feels like, we saw it with the chairs and Coach Leach on the sideline. Just, ETSU is not a team that you should, I'm not worried about them overlooking, but it is a game that could linger around and be a competitive matchup at half, and then you're shooting yourself in the foot, like you said, with the Egg Bowl right around the corner.
Right.
Short week,
Yeah. Well, so here's our first matchup, Shane.
Cootie Brown's is the name of that restaurant. Sorry.
With an actual point spread, we got UMass at Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Aggies favored by 33.5. Remember, it opened like 26, so money's coming in on the Aggies. The over-under is 47.5 total points. Game kicks off at noon Eastern, 11 o'clock Central, ESPN and SEC Network Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you got in the game?
Well, if there's a game them Boston boys would like to have, I'm mixing up accents here, but I would think I was trying to think of Matt Damon. I couldn't do it. So, but anyway, I would think if UMass was going to play Texas A&M, this is the year they would want.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be a game. UMass, there's no reason that Texas A&M should let this one hang in there. I want to see some offense, man. And I know we're kind of getting into the scores, but Jimbo has been under fire here lately. Just the whole season, but it's really starting to come to a head when you're starting to hear him kind of double down on not needing a coordinator and stuff like that. Well, prove it to us. Prove us that you don't need an offensive coordinator, that there is some sort of hope in this Texas A&M offense. And this is a perfect team to go against because you can really play around, and I expect that's what we see here with Texas A&M. Again, a little bit more youth playing. But anyway, I don't want to drag it out because I still think they win, but I'm afraid to gamble on A&M. Obviously, they've disappointed me all season long, so I'm going to take UMass with the points. But give me Texas A&M 35, UMass 10.
Man, this is going to be a defining game. It really, and that's pathetic,
dude.
That UMass is a defining game. There's been about 5 defining games though, and they've lost them all this year. Will the fans show up? I think these fans are so great. They will. The place will be rocking. It's an early game.
Yeah.
It's a game you're overlooking. There's one more game at home, LSU. That's going to be the big one for the Aggies. But it's going to be interesting to see to me because there's been such great fan support down there. I want to see if these fans start to turn on Jimbo. Not that they will, Because it seems like those are the people that are mainly, still, let's give Jimbo another year. Let's see him revitalize this.
Right.
They don't want to see the team keep losing. They're doing their part. But Devon Achane, I don't even think he's going to play in this game, Shane, because he's banged up. They're saving him for LSU. Connor Wigman kind of came back down to earth against Auburn. I don't have faith. The spread, 33.5, I don't have faith in A&M to get 33
That's sad,
points in this game against UMass.
Yeah.
And it's just it's nothing about the players, but it's your best players sitting out. It's the offense. This is going to be an ugly one. This is one where normally you're not even going to pay attention to it. I'm going to have it on one of the main screens because I want to see, that it's like a car wreck.
Yeah.
You don't want to watch, but you don't want to turn away either, And that's what A&M football is right now under Jimbo Fisher. I'm not going to sit here and troll him. I've done that enough. But I'm going A&M 30, UMass 3. So I like UMass and the points. But this is going to be an ugly one, I think.
How you like them apples?
Yep. You turned it all the way around. Okay.
Yeah.
How about this one, Shane? Western Kentucky at Auburn. Auburn's favored by 5.5 points. Over-under is 52.5. The game kicks off at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central on the SEC Network. Who wins here?
What if Auburn goes to a bowl? Mike, what if? They got to win 2 more games.
Yep.
Now, obviously, Alabama's out there lingering, and I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here, but, man, what a story. What a story they're creating down there in the Plains. It doesn't matter who shows up in Auburn. These fans will be there. Cadillac will be there.
Yeah.
And I guarantee these players are going to be there and ready to play. So,
what if it's Cadillac that ends the Nick Saban era? I mean, who in their right mind would ever said that? I went on Feinbaum, ran my mouth against it. Saban's got 1 foot out the door already.
Yeah.
If he loses this Iron Bowl, I think he is done.
I don't –
Not that they're going to fire him, but I think he'll just be
No, I got you.
I'm not helping this team. Because this is a team everybody thought would go undefeated. No.
Saban doesn't want to do that. Saban's not going to be one of those guys that just slowly gets worse. I believe he's going to try to quit at the top, And I've been trying to bury Saban for 15 years, Mike. And he's not going away. And I don't think one bad season that came down to 2 possessions is the end of Nick Saban. Now, losing to an Iron Bowl, which is next week, and I don't want to get ahead of it.
I feel like we're spending all our time on the Iron Bowl.
I say all that. Let's get back to this week, Mike. And one thing, like I said, that I love most about Auburn is that this team is dialed in.
Right.
Now, are they putting the best SEC product on the field? Absolutely not. But there is no other team fighting as hard as this team is right now, and they're doing it for the brothers to the left, to the right, and more importantly, the coach that's leading them. So this is an easy victory for me. I can't believe Vegas has it this close. Just given the fact that it's a mid game. It's on the it'd be one thing if it was at Western Kentucky, but it's not. So give me Auburn 28, Western Kentucky 17.
See, I'm going the exact opposite, Shane.
Uh-oh.
Big emotional win. We're already eyeing the Iron Bowl, as probably are some of these players, thinking about Coach Cadillac.
Yeah.
And can we win him this job? We just got to close it out. Well, here comes Western Kentucky that's got an explosive offense, passing attack. Auburn, they look like they had a good passing defense last week. It's because they were playing A&M, brother. Everybody looks like they got a good defense playing that Aggie offense. So I think Western Kentucky, there is a real upset potential here. Everybody's fired up about Cadillac, and this may be the week where all these people touting Cadillac for the job are like, all right, he wasn't quite ready for that one. That was a fun little story for that week. But, no, I think this is going to be a tough, hard-fought game, and I even think Western Kentucky may have the lead at halftime. I think it'll be that type of game.
Okay.
But like you said, they're fighting hard. They can't pass, though. That's another dangerous thing. If Western Kentucky's having all this success through the air, Auburn could be in some real trouble. They got to rely on that ground game, keep it close. I think the odds makers are dead on here with the point spread. Give me Western Kentucky and the points. Give me Auburn to win 30, Western Kentucky 24. So a 6-point margin. Give me Auburn and the point.
He's right back in. All right, the Cadillac is rolling.
But it's close. New Mexico State at Missouri, Shane Tigers. Favored by 29 points. Over-unders 46.5. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ESPN. Who do you got winning the game?
It's funny because we talked about it last few weeks, just how exciting that Missouri's defense is. It's not getting the respect, and they showed the rankings and stuff like that, and I think that's important when you're looking at some of the games, but also just I don't know, just what I'm visualizing when I'm watching these guys. This defense is tenacious. It's disruptive.
Yeah.
And I just think the offense has screwed up so many things to keep teams in the game, and I don't think we see that this week. I think the Missouri defense seriously comes out here and says, okay, well, how about you put up no points? I'm predicting, Mike, a freaking goose egg here. I'm telling you, I think defense flex this week.
Yeah.
And I think we see a blowout here. I almost made this my lock of the week, but I didn't want to put that evil on Mizzou. They'd had a rough week last week, but 35 is what I got to score. 35. New Mexico State 0. No point. They don't get it. They get across the 50-yard line one time.
Man. I'm not that confident, but I like what you're saying. This is going to be a pissed-off defense, ready to prove a point. Bowl eligibility still on the line. They have to win out as well, but it's got to start here on Saturday. So I think this is going to be a locked-in team. Mm-hmm. I know Brady Cook, it's like half the time amazing, half the time terrible. You got to, surely he got some confidence playing in Neyland Stadium, having some big-time plays. We just need him to be a little bit more consistent with that.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, they should blow the doors off this New Mexico State. A lot of motivation for Eli Drinkowitz and his program. I'm right there with you. I don't quite have the goose egg.
Yeah.
I'm going Mizzou 42, New Mexico State 13. So
okay.
I like them and the points.
Yeah, they got to win out, man. If they want to go to a bowl, they got to win out. So, yeah, right. Every game's important for Mizzou.
How about this one? UAB at LSU. LSU favored by 14.5. Pretty interesting spread there. Mm-hmm. Over under 52.5 total points. 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 Central on ESPN2. Tiger Stadium going to be rocking. They're going to see him win again, aren't they?
Well, I mean, you would think, it's a night game, Death Valley. There's no reason that this should be a ball game at all.
Yeah.
But there's a reason that Vegas thinks that it is, which makes me wonder maybe they should be. Is this another week that LSU starts out slow?
Yeah.
And they can't afford to do that, Mike. I'm not saying that Arkansas caught them, but it was close. And I'm not saying UAB is going to get them, but it was close. But they keep playing this style. They're not going to be able to win out like they wanted. You go against Georgia and you start out and score 3 points in the first half, you're losing. So I think they really got to bounce back and get a little bit more aggressive toward the start of this game. And I think that's what happens. But, Mike, there just feels like there's this natural letdown about to happen with LSU for some reason. They've got this locked-in SEC championship. Maybe you lose some of that focus. And so I think UAB backdoors the spread here. I think LSU wins, but, again, I feel like it's going to be one of those 7-0 late in the second quarter type games. And it's just not enough fuel to get to that 15-point mark. So I've got LSU winning 27, UAB last-minute score screws up Vegas 14.
Yeah, the LSU, they're such an interesting team, Shane. I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect them, but it's like even when you watch them, you're like, this is the SEC West champion, but they're gritty. They're tough. They make the adjustments. They improve week in, week out, aside from playing on the ice bowl there. Maybe that's skewing my memory a little bit here, but the defense certainly is getting better and better. So, yeah, you got to be a little bit worried of looking ahead. A&M, I mean, maybe you don't have to because they're so terrible this year. But, yeah, will this team play down to the level of their competition? I say no, Shane. I think they got to feel like you're saying, we got Georgia coming up here.
Right.
We've got to fix these issues. We got to take each and every game seriously because we only got 2 more before mighty Georgia. We meet them in Atlanta. So I like LSU to correct some of those issues. Jaden Daniels has not had back-to-back disappointing games yet as an LSU Tiger. I attribute a lot of his poor performance last week to the weather, playing on the road, coming off an emotional win. I think he bounces back. I think he has another 4 or 5 touchdown game. Give me LSU 37, UAB 17. Give me them Tigers and the points at home.
I like it.
All right, how about this one, Shane? Florida on the road at Vanderbilt. Gators favored by 14 points. The over-under is 57.5. The game kicks off at noon Eastern, 11 o'clock Central on SEC Network. Who you got in this one?
Mike, Vandy had a hell of a game last week, brother. I think that was that was climax Coach Lee this season. I really do. But I think it was important that they got it. They got that monkey off their back.
Yeah.
The team is they played as hard as they could. You know, I talked a little bit earlier about Auburn. Vandy's in a similar boat, playing better than they are.
Yeah.
And they caught Lexington. They caught Kentucky off guard. And, you know, Mike came out, had 1,000 yards rushing during that matchup. You know, it was phenomenal to watch, and I think it was an important victory. But there's a handful of SEC teams right now that are playing better than they were at the start of this season, and nobody's doing it as good as the Florida Gators right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at some of these losses that Florida Gators have had, you line them up against those teams again, I'm not convinced. I mean, you telling me they're going to lose to Kentucky if they play right now? You know what I'm saying? I'm not seeing that time. I'm seeing a team that is developing, moving forward, getting better. This running attack, golly, Mike, probably the one of the best rushing attacks in the country right now.
Yeah.
And what does Vanderbilt suck at? Stopping the run. So I expect a huge game from the Florida Gators here, and this is why I've got it my lock of the week. Ooh. Nothing against Vanderbilt, but you're coming off that high.
Yeah.
And Georgia and Florida, excuse me, I'll edit that one out. Florida, I told you, Mike, is winning out, and I'm not convinced that this is even a ball game. Florida 38, Vanderbilt 13.
You know, Shane, Vanderbilt, they deserve all the praise, all the love, getting that win. That may be the worst damn thing that happened to them, you know, because Florida now is going to take them serious. They're going to be locked in. And like you said, that momentum could be halted in a heartbeat if they drop a game to this Vanderbilt team on the road. You know, your fans are never going to respect a loss to Vanderbilt. Right. So this is a must-get for Billy Napier and company. I love everything you had to say. I was going to hit on the fact they're a rushing machine, and Vanderbilt getting gashed on the ground time and time again. Mike Wright, love the story, love Ray Davis. I think they'll get theirs, but they're still a one-dimensional offense.
Yeah.
And that makes the Kentucky win all that more troubling is how they couldn't slow down a one-dimensional attack. They needed some breaks to go their way. They're not going to get them here, like you said, against Billy Napier and company. The defense, they are taking huge strides there for the Florida Gators. I think they do it again. Give me Florida 30, Vanderbilt 7. Domination, like you said. And I think going into the offseason, this is a fan base and a program that is on the rise, and they're going to be pretty fired up going into the offseason.
Absolutely. We could go over and watch this thing. I just now realized it was in Nashville.
Well, how about this one, Shane? Number 5, Tennessee, on the road at South Carolina. Tennessee favored by 21.5 points, over under 66. Game kicks off at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN.
Yeah, Mike. You know, I've been touting them Gamecocks all off season. I was one of the guys that bought into the hype. The Rattler love, the Lloyd love. I mean, I was convincing myself that South Carolina was going to upset some folks this year, Mike. But it ain't going to be this week. Nothing against South Carolina. I just think that right now the wheels are falling off, brother. They're in turmoil. The fans are out on half the coaching staff. The fans are out on some of these players, man. I see it, and I hate when I don't like picking on players because sometimes the coaching staff does put these kids in a bad spot. Beamer said all the right things this week, but it was almost like he was cushioning up for a blowout, and he, making it a little bit softer for the fans. The only thing I can see happening here is Columbia just rocking. Absolutely. I mean, if you really want to give South Carolina a shot, it's going to come down to fans, man. They're going to have to show up and show out. They're going to be loud, be rough, create all kinds of noise because we saw it with the Georgia Bulldogs that they can get rattled. And there's
once
a lot
Tennessee starts going backwards, that's how you stop
absolutely.
them.
And when things don't go scripted, Tennessee has a tough time. Going off script. And, now they get to a halftime, make some adjustments. That's one thing I like about Heupel is that he is really good at that, halftime coming out with, okay, this wasn't working, let's try this. But this game It's personal to the Volunteers. They're sitting right outside the college football playoffs. They know they've got to win, so they're not overlooking any of these teams. They know it's going to be a loud environment. I don't know if it's going to be the loudest, but if South Carolina was playing a little bit better, it could have been. So that's the key for me, Mike, is catching South Carolina at the worst time for them. Yeah. And that's why I've got Tennessee winning big, 49, South Carolina 24. So give me the Vols and the points.
You know, last week I said South Carolina, they play better as underdogs.
Mm-hmm.
They do. Well, until they went down to Gainesville and that theory got blown up. But there's so much bad blood with the offense. Seeing a lot of poor play from Spencer Rattler and company. Marshawn Lloyd, who would have thought just removing one player makes the offense so ineffective at times. That's troubling. Tennessee, like you said, everything going against them. Jalen Hyatt fired up for this game. That's going to cause issues for these Gamecocks. You don't want one of the star players of one of the hottest players in the country coming in with a chip on his shoulder. Good night. Like you said, Hendon Hooker's going to try to be winning the Heisman. Brew McCoy's heating up. Cedric Tillman didn't even play. He's resting up for this matchup. Mm-hmm. You know, there is a little bit of going on the road. I think certainly if there's one game Tennessee's going to trip up, could be this one. You know, special teams, crowd. The defense and offense, maybe they have their best performance of the season, but that's what it's going to take to be competitive with this Tennessee team. I think the South Carolina program, not that they're out on Beamer, but we're like at an inflection point.
Yeah.
And until we get a new offensive coordinator, I think we're just stuck in this purgatory.
It's a big word. Boy, you're throwing them out.
And that's all Beamer, you know. He has got to fix this.
Yeah.
This is not something they could have fixed this in the offseason. They didn't fix it. It's not going to get fixed here. So, yeah, I think this is another performance that he's going to look at it and say, my God, we have got to switch this up. Tennessee, 45. South Carolina, 14. Blowout city.
What was that point again? Inflection?
Yeah.
Man, that's good. That's a 25-cent word right there, call it. I'm with you here, Mike. And one of the things that concerns me the most with South Carolina is they've shown us, not just last week, but all season, that they have trouble putting points on the board. Mm-hmm. And if Tennessee can get up, and that's what they have a tendency to do, is to get up a couple of scores. You start thinking outside the box. You try to keep up. I'm not convinced South Carolina can go toe-to-toe with Tennessee when it comes to offense, and that's my biggest concern. But I want to flip it, okay, because there's a lot of Gamecock guys out there and girls that are saying, well, if the stars are lined up. Let's talk about that real quick. What would need to happen for this to be an upset?
Turnovers. Crowd's got to be a factor. Getting that offense off track, because even if things are going right for South Carolina, it's hard to imagine them scoring 30 points.
Yeah.
And Tennessee, they average about 50.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it has seriously got to go the other way. I don't think you're going to limit Tennessee to anything less than 28 points, and that's if you're lucky.
Right.
I mean, we were sitting here last week saying, Missouri, this is a hell of a defense.
Yeah.
About 38 is about as good as Tennessee. They damn near doubled it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was an elite defense. Now we got a defense trending in the wrong direction. It's got to be turnovers. It's got to be blocked kicks. It's got to be onside kicks. It's got to be special teams bonanza. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's got to be Spencer Rattler having the game of his life, not getting pressured, staying in the pocket, hitting these receivers, push the ball down the field. By God, they're going to be stretching it left, stretching it right, getting 2-yard gain here, 2-yard gain there. That is not. No. This is the wrong opponent to go sideways against. You know what I mean?
Right. Though I like that. Yeah, and I don't think they do punt return either. I think they just keep the defense out there. You know,
that'd be smart. All right, number 1 Georgia, Shane, on the road at Kentucky. Bulldogs favored by 22.5 points. This is the SEC on CBS game of the week. 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central on CBS. Over under 49 points. Who you got in the ball game?
Oh, Mike, this is a tough 3:30 draw here. You know, I think maybe
all off season, man. We were saying the battle for the SEC East
comes down to this one, and it's a 23-point spread, 22.5.
Right,
brother. I keep waiting for Georgia to slip up. You know, we're close in Mizzou. The Kent State jokes. You know, we got to play that one. But these guys are dialed in, man. They know it, that they're the biggest, baddest team in the SEC, and they keep flexing week in, week out. And it's not one individual. It's the whole team. And it's offense. It's defense. Somebody gets hurt, doesn't matter. There's two guys to step in and just beat the shit out of whoever they're playing. That is the theme of the Georgia Bulldogs right now, and it is a machine that I don't want to get in front of. And Kentucky, buddy, they lost to Vanderbilt. You thought that was low? I mean, short of Kirby letting off the gas and taking it easy on you, that's what we're dealing with this week, brother. This game's over at halftime. There's no doubt in my mind that this is not going to be a football game you want to watch. I can't believe they put it at 3:30.
Yeah.
I would have snuck it in at 12 on TBS. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, I'm not going to beat around the bush, obviously, so let me just get right to it. I've crowned them already. Georgia 31, Kentucky 7. Tell me I'm wrong, Mike. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're dead wrong,
Dead
Shane.
wrong.
Because the same thing's being said in Athens.
Yeah.
The same thing's being said in Lexington. Kirby's trying to blow smoke up Kentucky's ass.
Yeah.
And they turn on the film and say, by God, they lost to Vanderbilt. We could have beat Vanderbilt by 200 points.
Yeah.
Their offensive line is trash. Will Levis, average NFL prospect. On and on and on. Lexington, we're questioning the coordinators. We're questioning the offensive line coach. What is the future of Mark Stoops? All this is being said. If Kentucky's got any heart, and I don't know if they do, but we'll find out on Saturday.
Yeah.
If they got any heart, any pride, they'll come out here on Saturday, home crowd. I believe it's a sellout.
Mm-hmm.
They will show up, play the best football they've played all season to prove those doubters wrong. Maybe they were looking ahead to this game. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have an excuse. There is no excuse for what happened last week. But it's not what happened. It's how you respond to it. And I think Kentucky comes with the biggest upset of the season, Shane.
Yeah.
At home against the Georgia Bulldogs. Kentucky 20, Georgia 28. They win by the spread, but I mean this is the
Wait,
Georgia
it's 20-28?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I think this is a 4-quarter ball game. Georgia pulls out in the end, of course, but I think that they're going to give the Dogs all they can handle. Again, how can Georgia be taking this Kentucky team seriously? We got to remember this is still a youngish team that at times plays down the level of the competition.
Yeah.
They're saying and seeing the same things we've seen. This Kentucky team cannot threaten us. Chris Rodriguez has a game of his life. Will Levis, if he can stay alive back here, if he's not getting destroyed. Georgia, they have an elite defense. They're still not sacking the quarterback. So maybe that offensive line can hold up against them Georgia Bulldogs. I think it's about a touchdown, 8-point game. Could be a 4-quarter ball game. Georgia get caught looking ahead again. This is my lock of the week. Give me Kentucky and the points. And if I was a little bit drunker, I would say Kentucky outright.
Oh, you're crazy. What are you drinking over there? Huh? I thought I was the drunk one, Mike. Oh, this damn game, they should have played it over in England so they could have knocked it out at 9 o'clock like the NFL. You get out of church and you're like, oh, man, I missed a football game. I hope I didn't have any fantasy players on that thing. No, I see what you're saying, and I want it. Don't get me wrong. I want it to be a game.
Yeah.
I'd love for this to be a football game. But, Kirby's been out here all week reminding us that, Kentucky is a tough team. It's a physical team. He
says that about everybody every week.
I know, it's scripted, but there's a part of me, Mike, that you're looking back, short of the little bit of a comeback we had during the Florida Gators. What game have you seen that Georgia has let their foot off the gas? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you go back, Vanderbilt.
Kent State,
No,
Missouri.
but Vandy, since you got Vandy, that was a blowout.
Yeah.
The Florida game we talked briefly about. Tennessee, that wasn't a game. I know Tennessee fans want to think that it was, and there was a few mistakes, I guess, that we made, but it's still it was Georgia, Mississippi State. That was a blowout. So I'm just not convinced that Kentucky's the team that's going to catch Georgia off guard. So I hope I'm wrong. But
That's what I'm saying. They got to show up. They got to show some damn heart. Show their,
Yeah, no, I mean it's got to come down to pride.
Yeah.
Coach Stoops coming out here taking attacks on his, on his coaching decisions. When it's never good when they start asking, are you switching coordinators? You're switching offensive line. Everybody knows, and so does he. So there does need to be a little pride in that locker room. And I'd love nothing more than to see a football game here. It's just I don't see one, man.
Okay. Well, you're wrong. All right, final one here, Shane. Number 14, Ole Miss at Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Night game. We've confirmed it 20 times now. Ole Miss favored by 2.5 points. Over under 64 total points. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on the SEC Network. Who you got in this one?
Mike. Well, I guess we haven't Morristown Honda'd one yet,
This feels like a Morristown Honda game.
It really does, because there's part of me that says Lane Kiffin doesn't make this a ball game. He comes out here, he runs all over Arkansas. He's not thinking about going to Auburn.
He's already got his bags packed, Shane.
No, he's not thinking
his Christmas
about
tree is out by the
Alabama's already behind him. He's super focused. He's dialed in. But again, I'm a realist, and I do think a little bit of that noise has got to be a factor.
Yeah.
And if it's not a factor with Lane Kiffin, what if it's a factor to these players? It's not like the players are like, okay, my coach is going to Auburn, so I'm going to go with him. No, you're stuck. Not stuck, but you know what I'm saying. You're committed to that school. You've got friends. You've got family. You've got NIL contracts. You're probably not going to be leaving Ole Miss. So I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit of that.
What you're overlooking, too. I mean, hell, they lost any shot at the West last week.
Yeah. Well, Alabama, that's what I'm saying. Look, they're still looking in the rearview mirror at that game. And then you're going here against Arkansas, a team that's not even clinched a bowl game yet, And last week looked god-awful. The week before looked terrible. This is an Arkansas team. When you pull on the script, you look at the tape, they're not playing great football right now. And of course, a lot of that has to do with KJ, which I think he's going to be in this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's the factor. That's the X factor. It can't just be it can't just come down to running attack on both sides, because we're going to see two of the top SEC running backs in this game.
Yeah.
Oh, man, and I keep moving my score, Mike. I really want to say Ole Miss is going to win this thing, but it is a night game. Arkansas, I'm picking a little bit of an upset, man. I'm going against. I'm going to tell you, I got Ole Miss 35, Arkansas 24, but I'm switching it. I got Arkansas 28, Ole Miss 27. I don't know. Just Morristown Honda this thing because this game feels too pretty. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever look at that, like, something doesn't seem right. You get in here and something doesn't seem right with this situation. And I think that noise, that outside noise, is going to be a factor with Ole Miss. There's going to be a letdown. There's naturally going to be a letdown. And Arkansas needs this. They need to bounce back. They got their captain back this week. So give me Arkansas with the upset.
Right, and this just feels like one of those games, Shane, where you have to go into it knowing they may have a better record.
Yeah.
But we're just as good as this team.
Yes.
We have let games slip away. Arkansas, I believe they've got one of the worst margins of winning and losing in one-score games this season. That has to flip at some point in time. So you get in these close ball games. It just comes down to execution. You're getting KJ back, as far as I know. He's the key to the game. He's a Mississippi man. That's got to play some factor. When a guy's coming back from injury, this is who knows? This could be his final home game for all I know. He may not be back. So a lot of pride on the line, postseason on the line. This has just been a devastating season for expectations for the Arkansas Razorbacks. But you get a win like this, it doesn't fix everything, but you get that good taste back, and you get that momentum rolling because they're going to be favored to beat Missouri. I'm not saying they're going to beat Missouri, but you can go out here with a 2-game winning streak going in a bowl game. If you win that 3-game winning streak, all of a sudden, Arkansas, we're not questioning. We don't got to fire this guy. We don't got to fire that guy. We're fired up again.
Yeah.
We're building on something here, the Sam Pittman era. I think these fans are still going to be locked in, a rowdy crowd. Like we said, they rarely ever get a night game in the SEC. They're going to take full advantage of it. I think the weather plays a huge factor. Ugly, sloppy game. I'm not quite going Honda Morristown on you, but I am going field goal as time expires to win it. Arkansas 33, Ole Miss 30.
Oh,
and it may even be a higher scoring game than that.
It's never good when we're both on the same page. Never good.
Congratulations,
Ole Miss. You're kicking ass this week.
Well, brother, all right, so let's wrap it up. I can't wait to watch some football with you all Saturday long. Got anything else before we hop off the line?
No. I'm totally stoked about this one. The last time I felt this confident in my picks,
Yeah.
I think I got one of them right. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest with you, Mike. and as I'm putting these together, the only one I'm really kind of hesitant on is the Arkansas game.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That makes for good football. I think we're going to have some good football. A lot of people overlooking this week.
Yeah.
They're thinking about next week with the rivalries coming in. Buddy, this could make or break some hearts, man.
I'm
Tennessee
telling you.
loses one, shit, they're out, man.
Right.
You know, LSU drops one, and then there's not that question. They should be in a college football playoff. Hell, Ole Miss. I mean, it's just so many narratives, so many things could happen this week, and I'm just glad we get to watch it, start to finish.
It's a dangerous spot when all the away teams are favored in conference games.
Yeah.
I'll leave you with that. I've been saying it all week. I'm expecting some chaos here on Saturday.
Yeah.
Cannot wait to see it. And you can't run and hide if the Tennessee Vols lose because you'll be right there next to me.
There. I will tell you this. I would like to do something, Mike, and I don't know whether it's a Twitter space or something like that. Take advantage of us hanging out. So keep an eye on the Twitters. If you're on there, we'll keep you guys posted. But maybe a little mid-game, recap of where we're at and stuff. And who knows? We'll be blistered by then, so we may get in trouble, but it'll be worth it.
You ready to go hit up some Dave and
Hell
Buster's?
yeah, man.
All right, let's go.
It's the only exercise I do is video games and bowling. Everybody asking where the walk's at. When I get back, I'll get it back.
All right, perfect.